Hey, this FNGM here. Have you heard of Encounter Party? Oh, no, I don't mean the podcast. I mean, have you heard of the new television series, Encounter Party? If you haven't seen the trailer yet, which you can see right here, Encounter Party is a brand new actual play, the first Dungeons and Dragons full-length campaign ever to be released on television. Now, I've been given a unique opportunity in regards to this television show. I've been given the first 5 episodes to get a look at, and I have some thoughts that I'd like to share with you. What is it, why I think you should give it a look, and what my plans are in the future with this television show. But first, a quick disclaimer. A few weeks ago, I was reached out to by Ned Donovan. Ned is one of the show's creators, producers, and actors. Ned reached out to me asking if I'd be willing to take a look at some of the episodes in advance and offer him my thoughts. Now, when we had this conversation, it was made very clear I am not being paid to do this. I am under zero obligation to say anything publicly about it, and I certainly am not obligated to only say positive things if I do. It just so happens, luckily for Ned, that I do have a lot of positive things that I'd like to say about the show, and I want to share all of my thoughts with you. Okay, now let's get going. So what is Encounter Party? Well, Encounter Party began in 2019 as an actual play podcast, the brainchild of Ned Donovan and Brian David Judkins. This podcast ran for 3 seasons, encompassing one giant campaign set in Magic the Gathering's Ravnica setting. Now, through a partnership with Wizards of the Coast and E1 Entertainment, Encounter Party is being adapted for television and is going to be shown on the Dungeons and Dragons Adventures Network. Dungeons and Dragons is getting their own television network? That's nuts. Dungeons & Dragons Adventures is set to be available on Freevee and Plex on November 13th of 2023. The channel is going to offer a number of different Dungeons & Dragons-centered shows, but Encounter Party is going to be the first and currently only full-length actual play campaign that will be shown. And it's pretty good. Now, there are a couple of things I think should be addressed before you walk into Encounter Party. Let's set the stage. There is a lot of baggage people bring into actual plays, especially when they learn that the actual plays are being played by professional actors, which Encounter Party is. People bring in baggage when they hear the word professional actors, or when they hear the word television, or when they hear the word production. One piece of baggage that's brought in is the idea of scripting, which makes perfect sense. Most of the content that we consume from movies or television is scripted content. But there are other types of actors out there. Improvisational actors. People who make up stuff off the top of their dome. I used to be an improvisational comedian for 10 years. I was the artistic director of an improv comedy troupe, very similar to Whose Line Is It Anyway, for, again, 10 years of my life. And let me tell you, I never saw a single script despite having performed hundreds of shows. So this is something that means a lot to me and something that I'm really looking forward to seeing and sharing my insights about with you. Okay, another piece of baggage people will bring into this conversation is editing. Well, if they're editing, that may mean that they're reshooting things, or they just keep going until they get the exact outcome they want. No, that's not what this means. This show is edited. There's no denying that. But the editing isn't about giving you the most entertaining idea. It's about taking what is there and making it entertaining. Look, I love playing Dungeons & Dragons as much as the next person, probably even more than some of you out there, wink. But I know that the campaign sessions, that adventure sessions, whatever, can be filled with these long, awkward pauses where nothing's really happening, or people are just spinning their wheels. And frankly, that's not entertaining. It actually is one of the reasons why I get so terrified about running my own actual plays, because I'm afraid I'm going to lose audience when things get a little slow. And the beauty of the editing is you can take out those moments. They still happen. Everything after that moment still is affected by that slow moment. But we as the audience don't have to sit there and go through the pain of doing it. The players are going to do that for us. Hey, thanks. The third piece of baggage that people bring in when watching actual plays is the kind of baggage that comes along with the word story. Encounter Party is a very story-forward show, which is great. Not a lot of actual plays are putting out story-forward shows. A lot of them focus either on the actors themselves or the characters, but not on the story. And this one focuses very hard on that. But when people hear the word story, there's going to be that urge to assume that a story means a book, right? It has a beginning, a middle, and end that's already been predetermined. Before we ever see it, everybody already knew going into it that they're basically just going through the motions. No. You can take a story from an open sandbox campaign. You can create a story from random elements. It's all about focusing on what the players are doing and then making that meaningful. And that's what Brian David Judkins as the DM is doing. He's taking these open adventures and then, with the help of the players, creating a story within it. I think that needs to be made clear because a lot of people have an issue with that. And I understand that issue. But just know that that's not the case. Well, the first question I had before I even started watching was, who's even playing this game? Well, we've got a number of returning cast members, 5 of them from the original podcast. We've got Andrew Krug, David Lee Huynh, Landry Fleming, Ned Donovan, and Sarah Babe, all with brand new characters for this brand new campaign. But there's one more newcomer to the player cast. Kari Payton. If you consume a lot of nerd media like I do, then you'll recognize Kari's name from a number of different television shows. He voiced Cyborg in the cartoon Teen Titans. He played Ezekiel in The Walking Dead, and, my personal favorite, he voiced Aqualad in the show Young Justice. This talented and diverse cast are led by the Dungeon Master Brian David Judkins, the Dungeon Master for also the first campaign of Encounter Party. Fun fact, did you know that Brian David Judkins is the artist behind Ukiyo Pop? I didn't know that. That's freaking sweet. Okay, so I brought up what is the show and who's involved. The biggest question I think you might have is, why should I even watch it? I've got a couple of reasons for you. Number one, it's a lot of fun. And that's primarily what I'm looking for when I am looking for any actual play to watch. I want it to be fun. And Encounter Party is fun. It's not without its problems, but it doesn't change the fact that I had a good time. My wife joined me on watching the very first episode, and I fully expected her to nope out of it because actual plays really aren't her thing. But she wanted to watch each episode with me. We had a great time watching it together. The second reason is, it's a pretty solid story. Now, to be fair, at this point in time, I've only seen the first 5 episodes, so I can't speak for the greater story at large, or whatever the players are going to get into after that. But from the first 5 episodes that I was able to get a hold of, it was a good story. It was a nice little prologue arc that really got us a feel for who the characters are, but without spending all of its time just going through a laundry list of each character's traits. I think that's great. Plus, it's a mystery, and who doesn't like a mystery? The third reason you should watch this show, and it's a pretty personal reason to me, these episodes are digestible. They're only 48 minutes long. That's less than an hour, and they're only once per week, so less than an hour a week, yeah, that's doable. A lot of other actual plays, I'm not going to name names, but they have these insanely long episodes. I can't be expected to watch a full-length feature film every single week. I've got 3 kids, a job, a mortgage. I've got so much stuff going on. So I really appreciate that these episodes are digestible. They're short, they're sweet, and they're entertaining. So what am I going to do with the fact that I've been given access to all of these episodes in advance? Well, I'm going to start a new series on my channel. I'm going to start a review series for each episode that Encounter Party puts out. I'm going to share what I thought was good about it. I'm going to share what I thought was not so good about it. And I'm going to share my theories with you, the audience. I really hope that you come on by and take a look with me. I really hope that you watch the show and then join me in sharing our thoughts about this. I think that would be pretty neat. All right, so the first 2 episodes of Encounter Party are going to release on the Dungeons & Dragons Adventure Network on Plex and Freevee next Tuesday, November 14th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The next day, November 15th, that's a Wednesday, I'll be releasing my video. So I hope you get the chance to watch those episodes, and then I hope you join me as I discuss my thoughts, my feelings, and my theories about the show. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll be seeing you here next Wednesday.